What is going on, gang? Hold on, let me turn this down a little bit. What is going on, gang? Y'all are back. This is another episode of On the Mark with your boy Marcus Washington, where we talk everything Falcons football. Our season has been over with for a few weeks, man, and Atlanta is doing some hiring and some cleaning uh, on the defensive side of the ball. They announced today um, their new DC is going to be Ryan Nielsen from the New Orleans Saints. Um, it's got a lot of Falcons fans, man, up in arms right now, bro. Up in arms because they're like, wait a minute, dog. Where's Flores? What's going on, RJC? Um, where's Flores, man? Where's Van Gio? Where are the sexy names, man? I think Atlanta interviewed 4 or 5 people. Uh, I think they interviewed somebody from the Packers. Um, uh, Al Holcomb. Um, so, but the two names that were really floating around that Atlanta Falcons fans wanted was Brian Flores and Vic Fangio. Man, they wanted one of these two guys. Um, we talked about it. We talked about it here. Um, what's going on, y'all? Country boy Eldrick clocking in. Um, and me personally, when I saw the news, if I'm gonna be honest, I kind of looked at it and I'm like, okay, another Saints guy. Um, all right. And then I immediately started thinking about the Saints defense. Um, so listen, man, the here's my take on it. This video isn't going to be this long, by the way. What's going on, MQ? This is not going to be a long video. I say that, and then 30 minutes later, we're still talking. But I'm gonna try to keep this short. Dean Pease and his defense was so horrible that they needed to get somebody in here from a decent defense. And the Saints have had a good defense. I hate their guts. I absolutely hate their guts. But the one thing we cannot argue is the fact that the Saints have not only had a good defense, they've had a great defensive line. I think I saw a stat since 2017, they have almost 300 sacks. That's crazy. Now, a lot of people were like, man, this is an inside hire, Terry coming from the Saints, man. We're turning into the Atlanta Saints and all this. Man, if y'all don't listen, as many players as we've had that went to the Saints, bruh, and went in division. Hell, Julio and Gage are on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster right now. This happens, man. I'm looking at how do we go from 28th overall in defense to middle of the road next year? Because I feel like if Atlanta is right there around 13 in total defense, this team wins 10 plus games easy. Easy. So if this is the guy that solves it, I don't care where he comes from. And when you look at the Saints defense, not a lot of people were available, man. I mean, listen, I like Brian Flores. I like Vic Fangio. But here's another thing that you have to consider. Let's just say they come in and they have an all-world year as a defensive coordinator. Bro, they're getting plucked next year for a head coaching job. Seeing how they have head coaching experience, they're getting plucked next year. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Look at Dan Reeves. Not Dan Reeves, Dan Quinn. I don't know why Dan Reeves is I don't know why his face is in my head. But look at Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was butt cheeks his last handful of years as a head coach. Butt cheeks. Now they're like, oh, he's guaranteed a head coaching job. Because, Dallas's defense, oh, they look great. Mind you, Dan Quinn didn't do none of the grocery shopping in the draft. Mind you, he was our defensive coordinator. Look at where that got us. We were dead last when Dan Quinn was calling the defensive plays, bro. Now 3 years removed from it, he's already. Now, mind you, your boy Dan Quinn was damaged goods and still got a defensive coordinator job. Took him a minute, but now they're talking head coach. So you got to look at that with Brian Flores. You got to look at that Vic Fangio. They get a top 10 defense, they're gone. Now you're looking for another defensive coordinator. So this hire right here, man, I low-key like it. I low-key like it because I got to respect the Saints defense. Another thing that people forget, as much as people criticize our team actually has done some pretty incredible things. The Saints defense went, I think, almost 100 plus games or some crazy number of games. Well, it wasn't 100 games. It was a lot of games. I'd really have to look it up without allowing 100-yard running back. And that streak got broke by us, by the way. But before that, you couldn't run on their defense. I think it was Cordell Patterson's first start. At running back, it was the first game of the season where he went over 100. That was the first time, I think, in maybe it wasn't 100 games. I'm definitely exaggerating. It might have been a season and a half, something like that. So I get people's frustration because, again, you got sexy names out there. Who knows, man? Maybe Brian Flores and Vic Fangio and the other guys that they interviewed, maybe their vision for the defense wasn't what Fontenot and Arthur Smith was looking for. I want an aggressive defense. I thought Brian Flores would be the guy to bring an aggressive defense, but I mean, this dude was on that coaching staff of the Saints, and the Saints have a very aggressive defense. You don't get damn near 300 sacks inside of 5 years and not have an aggressive defense. That's what Atlanta needs right now. So I get a lot of the hate. I understand it. You got people talking about this is what Falcons do. The Falcons a fumble like this. How do you have these guys, these quality names, and then you go with pretty much a nobody? Well, let's look at it this way. Let me take Brian Flores, for instance. Brian Flores was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins before he was fired, and then sued the NFL. Now, listen, that's another video, but they bring in another guy. What is that, Mike Daniels or whatever his name is? Miami actually gets better. So when they brought this guy in, didn't nobody know who the hell he really was. Team got better, though. Sometimes the big name isn't what you need. Meanwhile, Flores went to the Steelers, and they didn't make the playoffs. So I get it. I get it. I understand it. I didn't see this hire coming at all. I saw that they had reached out to interview him. I didn't pay it no mind. And then I think that was 3 days ago. Let me go see when they interviewed him. I know it was like 3 days ago when I saw it. That they interviewed, and then they hired him today. It's not saying right here. But yeah, so I'm happy for the dude. Again, I'm gonna give him an opportunity. I think we as Falcons fans sometimes we jump off the porch a little too early. The last couple of years, we've doubted everything that this front office has done. When we drafted Kyle Pitts at 4, people lost their damn mind. Man, y'all had an opportunity to get Justin Fields. What they didn't realize is the teams after us that passed on Justin Fields. The following year, Atlanta gets a wide receiver at number 8. That's the dumbest thing y'all could have possibly done. Mind you, the year before, Kyle Pitts didn't do anything but get over 1,000 yards receiving, and we really didn't start targeting him until the London game, when Matt Ryan had absolutely no choice because Calvin Ridley didn't show up. They didn't have a number 1 receiver, and Matt Ryan was forced to throw to Kyle Pitts. And then Kyle Pitts only broke the record for most catches in a season by a Falcon. Then we draft Drake London. Oh, man, how could y'all do this? How could y'all do this? Man, we need a quarterback. We need a defensive end. We need this. We need that. Drake London comes in, really not being targeted while Mariota is quarterback. And then he breaks the most catches in a season by a Falcon the very next year. Mind you, after we drafted Drake London, there was a run on wide receivers. Mainly the Saints. They picked up one. And look at what that guy did. So for me, I'm going to trust this process until this dude proves he's trash. Just like I did Dean Pease. Now, the defensive scheme, do they play a 4-3? I don't know. But I do like the fact that I do like the fact that at minimum, we're going to get 2 years with this guy. At minimum. If we have a top 10 defense, at minimum, we're going to have 2 years. Brian Flores, Vic Fangio, 1 year, top 10 defense, they're getting plucked. Some team is going to want to talk to him, and they're going to pick him up. So I think this was, I didn't really feel like they made a bad move. It was just like, man, this is kind of unexpected. And then the more it kind of sat with me, I'm like, okay, I kind of see why they went this way. Charles said, "Let's go. I hope he revamps our D line. He's probably happy to give to have Grady on his defense." Man, that front four of the Saints is no joke. And for me, we already got a good secondary back there, man. Our problem is we can't get home to a quarterback to save our life. A lot of that I put on defensive scheme. I think nobody's going to tell me otherwise. Dean Pease' defensive scheme was trash. The man got off the couch, stole a couple of paychecks for 2 years, and then retired again. Leaving our defense damn near dead last both seasons in pretty much every category. Our run defense, it was good. Outside of that, we were terrible at everything else. So My argument is this, and I get it. Us Falcons fans are emotional. I get it. We complain about the defense. They hired a defensive coordinator who was on the coaching staff of a defense that was top 10 in a lot of categories. A lot of them. And we're not happy because it's not the name that we want. It's not the Lamar Jackson. When you might realize you don't really need Lamar Jackson. What you got might be sitting right here on a rookie contract. This kind of further tells me that the brass isn't thinking about Lamar Jackson. The best plan for Atlanta this offseason is to build the defense. You got the money to do it. You don't really need too much on the offense. Offensive line was sturdy this year. Run game was absolutely incredible. Drake London seemed to have come into his own with Ritter as the QB. You get Kyle Pitts back. Honestly, you can move Cordell Patterson into a Debo Samuels type of style. Algiers your number one back. You get Caleb Huntley back. Those two can handle the run game. So now you got a third receiver in Cordell Patterson. Then go get you another wide receiver on the other side of Drake London. You're finished on offense. This defense needs to be built. And we need to have an aggressive defense. I think that's what it boiled down to. He's been there since 2017. Flores just got to Pittsburgh. So I think they just looked at a lot of stuff, man. I get it. The more I talk about it, I get it. So I'm pretty sure, they're going to be Falcons fans up in arms about this for the next couple of days, and then they'll calm the hell down. My thing is this. If the defense, let's just say the defense ends next year, 20th. They were a lot better than they were last year. But I think this is the beginning of Terry Fontenot and his vision for what he wants this team to be. I honestly think that Terry Fontenot called the shots on this one. Because, see, when Arthur Smith came over, he brought Dean Pease over. So that conversation probably went like, yeah, listen, I'm going to go get my guy. Because your guy was garbage. And Arthur probably said, yeah, I thought he still had a little juice in him. So I like this. I like this signing, man. I like it. It's unconventional. And man, listen, Falcons never go after sexy names anyway. Think about this. What have sexy names done for us when we got them? Absolutely nothing. Y'all remember Steven Jackson? Y'all remember Steven Jackson? Sexy name. Sexy name. Got him from the Rams. Butt cheeks. 2 seasons. What about Todd Gurley? Y'all remember Todd Gurley? Sexy name. Also got him from the Rams. Man ain't even playing football no more. Sometimes sexy names don't work. I remember when we got both these backs. Man, we thought we was it. This it right here. Oh, man, Super Bowl. Playoffs minimum. Steven Jackson moving like a diesel truck. Todd Gurley, same way. And that ain't all. I think this was the right fit for right now. And the guy isn't old. I think he's 43 years old. Relatively young guy. But when people, want to complain about this, man, I just say, hey, listen, I what I'm gonna ask you, I know you're gonna hate because I would hate it. Go look at that Saints defense last couple of years. I listen. I know what you're saying right now. I know what you're saying. But go watch that defense. I hate the Saints with every fiber in my being. I don't have anything in my house that's black and gold at the same time. Nothing. Black and gold don't even touch in my house. I hate them that much. But I'd be lying. And I would be disingenuous if I sat here and told y'all the Saints defense was trash. Matter of fact, since Drew Brees has been gone, the defense is what's been keeping them in games. These boys went through 1, 2, 3, like 4 quarterbacks this year. Kamara didn't play good this year. Olave was playing out of his mind, but it was their defense. So if you could tell me we could get that type of defense, give it here. Give it here. Anthony White. Let me start putting some of these. Dante Fowler, another one, Charles. Exactly. Cheeks. Anthony, what's going on? He says Nielsen has a really good D-line pedigree, so it's someone the Falcons can grow with. That's where we're struggling. We cannot get a pass rush. And one of the reasons why I say this is scheme is because Dan Quinn's last year, when he left, we were 32nd. 32nd. Let me repeat this. 32nd. That means we were last. We went on a bye, came back, we played the New Orleans Saints. We had 6 sacks that game. Same defense. Nobody changed. Same defense. Saints didn't even score a touchdown. That was the first time since Drew Brees had been there. They did not get in the end zone. Now, how did that happen? Same players, bruh. Different defensive coordinator, though. I think this will pay dividends. I'm actually happy to see, or excited to see, what they bring in this year in the offseason on defense. Because listen, this was a cry for help. Grady told y'all, hey, man, I'm tired of this shit, bruh. I'm all world here. I'm all pro. Y'all put me next to some bums. This defense is not working, bruh. And I think Terry said, hey, man, I hear you. Help's on the way. So I like it, man. I like the hire. The more I keep talking myself into it, more I'm like, I'm okay with it. And you got some people struggling right now, but man, y'all be all right. Y'all cried foul when we didn't get Justin Fields. Y'all was all right after that. After y'all saw him getting killed in Chicago. Y'all crying foul and screaming and throwing TVs when we picked up Drake London at 8. Y'all was all right after that. After y'all saw everybody else going wide receiver. Y'all was like, well, maybe we did right. What's going on, Roger? Roger said, yeah, they fired a few position coaches too. Yeah, the day that today when we hired him, they fired 3. And listen, man, I'm not for people losing their job, but I don't want any Dean P stench on this defense. I want hard-hitting dogs on defense. Every now and then they get a 15-yard penalty just because. I can take one a game. I can't take multiples. I want a nasty, aggressive defense. And when y'all pick up that 15, let it be on their side of the field too. I'm okay with that. But I like where we're going. Now we get to see exactly what they're trying to do on defense, because it took them forever to hire a defensive coordinator, which I'm not going to front. I'm okay with that. Because after 2016, y'all remember how fast it was when we hired our offensive coordinator and Steve Sarkisian. Man, you want to talk about a what the hell hire? Steve Sarkisian. Not a down in the pros. They pulled the trigger way too fast. And that offense sputtered. They took their time with this one. And they finally landed on a guy where, hey, man, we like him. We like that defense that the Saints got too. Terry Fontenot hasn't really had a lot of misses. He's had maybe one or two. But for the most part, think about this for a second, family. I talked about this in the last video. We ended 28th in defense, and we still should have won 10 plus games this year. We still should have won 10 plus games, man. And this was with we were in salary cap distress. We were doing this with rookies and guys that had been in the game for a minute, but really weren't, gangbusters. Cordell Patterson was an aberration. Nobody knew that Cordell still had that in him. Nobody did. Because trust me, if they did, he wouldn't have came here. And we still should have won 10 plus games. Saints defense had 48 sacks this year. We get that type of production, we in business. Yeah, Ray said, and with a quarterback that quit on us. Yeah. So again, this offseason is going to be interesting. Listen, man, if y'all are holding on hope for Lamar Jackson, let me just stop you. One, if I'm Terry Fontenot, I'm not going after him. Even if there's a crazy situation where Baltimore just says, hey, man, you know what? Let's cut bait. I'm good. We just got new money. We just got new money, bruh. We need defense. Ritter's on his rookie. Kyle's on his rookie. Drake's on his rookie. Algiers on his rookie. And you got money this offseason. Bro, I'm not playing no games. I'm building this defense. We won 7 with no money. Should have won 10 plus with no money. No household names to speak of. Bro, if I'm Terry Fontenot, I'm being honest. I ain't even thinking playoffs. I'm thinking in an NFC championship game. That's where I'm putting my bar at. Because I got to look at, man, we came so close this year and really nobody had us pegged to do anything. Tampa Bay won the division and they won one extra game than we did. With the greatest quarterback of all time, Mike Evans, household name, Chris Godwin, household name. Now Leonard Fournette, some trash. Russell Gage, who was on our team. Todd Bowles, look at all these sexy names they had. Experienced names. Won one extra game than we did. Man, I'm thinking, hey, the ceiling is in the sky for us. Right now, we are in a highly opportunistic moment because we don't have to pay anybody right now. So let's get a defense in here. We got draft picks galore. Man, please. Listen, I said a couple videos. I've already called 10 plus games. We win in 10 games next year. I'm already calling that. But if I'm Terry Fontenot, man, NFC Championship game, that's the ceiling for us this year. The NFC is mildly weak anyway. Brady ain't going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer next year. So they back to starters, but they was trash with Tom Brady. So think about that. They're going to be super trash without Tom Brady. Saints still trying to figure out their quarterback situation. They won't be in the sweepstakes for Lamar Jackson. They can't afford him. Even though they're doing restructures. Kamara took a step back as a running back, which isn't a good thing. Now, Chris Olave is the truth. That is a bad boy at wide receiver. Carolina, they hired a head coach yesterday. I think it was who did they hire? Frank Wright? Let me go back and look at this real quick. But it was the Indianapolis Colts coach that got fired. They hired him. They still aren't really where they want to be at quarterback. Rusty said, we took the Saints stadium. We took the Saints stadium name, took Terry. Yeah, like, hey, man, this happens all the time. It happens all the time, man. I don't really care about where we get these pieces from, but how these pieces fit us. Because remember, when the Matt Ryan era started, they were calling us the Patriots. Because we got Dimitrov from over in New England, and then we started shopping, in the Patriots grocery store. What's going on, Epic? Roger says, you think Davenport comes to the A since we got Nelson? Well, we got the money. Money talks. We got the money. If you'd asked me this a year ago, nah, we got the money. Now, who knows if he's going to come? But that is money's a pretty strong reason to come, and you already got a connection to the guy, and he's your DC now. Now, if we're changing defenses that he's used to, that's even better. So there is a strong possibility. I mean, you hear this stuff all the time when Hackett went to the Denver Broncos. People were already like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is coming here. And he didn't come. Now Hackett is in New York. I think he's with the Jets now. And there's talk about Aaron Rodgers possibly coming. So those connections, they do matter. I don't know if he's going to come, but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if they had this conversation when he was on his way there. Hey, listen, got this DC gig up here in Atlanta. I want you to come with me. It's very possible. That happens every day. I've had bosses that switch to another company. They come to me. Hey, listen, this is between me and you. Interview with such and such, man. They're going to put me on. I want you to come with me. Never went because the money didn't match. But if the money would have matched, I probably would have bounced. In this situation, man, they got damn near $80 million in cap space. this season, and they don't got to pay nobody that next season. It's ideal. So it's pretty interesting, man. I'm gonna love to see what they do as far as picks, free agency. Um, I'm gonna love to see what they do to build this defense. Um, the problem with us this year is we could not get to the quarterback. We could not get off the field on third down. That was killing us this year, and we still should have won 10 games. You get a middle of the pack defense in there. I think if Atlanta is teetering around 13th next year, they're taking the NFC South. They're getting a home game. And again, my ceiling is NFC Championship. 13th. If they can get third, think about that jump. You go from 28th to 13th. Ain't nobody talking about Brian Flores. Ain't nobody talking about Vic Fangio. Bro, wasn't nobody talking about Dan Quinn when Olbrich took over. Nobody was talking about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn got fired. Didn't nobody talk about this defense? They were like, damn, what Olbrich? Man, this boy got these guys humming. And mind you, Dan Quinn got that job as head coach for the Atlanta Falcons because of defense. Now, I bet you if Dan Quinn was hiring at that time, or Dan Quinn was interviewing for a job at that time, and Jeff Olbrich was, they would have went with the sexy name. They would have went with Dan Quinn. Even though Olbrich proved to be a way better defensive coordinator than Dan Quinn. I'm going to say that even now. Because Dan Quinn in Dallas and in Seattle benefited from not having to shop for the groceries. He had front offices that were calling the shots as far as who they were getting. He had no influence. He definitely didn't have any influence in Dallas on who they were getting on defense. And he benefited from it. The Diggs of the world, the Micah Parsons of the world. He benefited from it. When he shopped for groceries, 32nd. When he shopped for them and called the plays, 32nd. So again, even though I like Brian, man, I rock with Brian Flores heavy. I'm not really going to be thinking about him after today. Now, if next year Atlanta goes from 28th to 32nd overall, Arthur Smith already going to be on the hot seat. But this would definitely be a huge L for Terry Fontenot because people are going to look at, you had Vic Fangio, you had Brian Flores right there. And you went with a basic no name. My thought process is a bit different. If Atlanta is anything better than 28th, it was an improvement. Because they were damn near dead last most of the season. The last 4 or 5 games pretty much saved them from being dead last. So again, what I say, I said early in the show, this was not going to be a long video, and we had 40 minutes. But anyway, man, I'm gonna go ahead and hop up off of here. Damn, we ain't got no football tomorrow. And we got 2 more games left, and then it's Super Bowl off season. I think our time is coming, man. Something weird is telling me our time is coming. I'll tell y'all a quick story, and I'm gonna hop off here. Back in 2016, before the season started, man, I had a dream. We were in the Super Bowl. And we were playing a team with white jerseys. I couldn't place what team it was. You know how dreams can be kind of weird that way. I remember going to work telling some of my coworkers, man, I had a dream we went to the Super Bowl. They busted out laughing at me. Man, y'all ain't going nowhere. That year we went to the Super Bowl. They were looking at me crazy at the NFC Championship game, bro. I'm like, man, I told y'all. Now, I haven't had any dreams yet, but something is telling me that this is about to turn for the Atlanta Falcons. And based on this year, looking back at this year and looking at how the team overachieved, but they could have done better with what they had. And now you're getting off of Julio's contract. You're getting off of Matt Ryan's contract. Thank God. That's another video I'm going to do this week too, because I saw Matt Ryan last Sunday at the desk talking about football. And I'm like, this is kind of the beginning of the end right here. When you see players in that suit and tie talking about football, they on their way out. We going to revisit the Matt Ryan saga, because I got a lot of hate in a particular group about the things I said about Matt Ryan. A year later, we come to find out that, hey, I wasn't wrong at all about that. And now Ryanites have went into hiding. So that'll be coming soon. But it's almost like this turn where Georgia had decent teams, but they would always lose the game that they ain't got no business losing. They could never beat Bama when it mattered. The Mark Richt years, letdowns. You look at the Atlanta Braves, same thing. And then they got over the edge. Georgia got over the edge. It's just something's telling me, man. Something's telling me something is about to change in Falcons football. Now, I know we get the Falcons are going to Falcon and all that other stuff, but I think this time next year we going to be this time next year, fam. I said Terry Fontenot's ceiling should be NFC Championship game. This time next year we might be talking about the Falcons potentially going to the Super Bowl. We should definitely be talking about the Falcons in the playoffs. Period. NFC is weak right now, bro. NFC South is weak right now. The teams you really have to worry about in the NFC, honestly, the Eagles and the 49ers. That's it. The Rams are unknown. Green Bay, we don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. And even if he's there, who cares? They didn't make the playoffs this year either. Tom Brady's probably going back to the AFC. All the heavy hitters are in the AFC. The Allens, the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Herberts. All the hitters are over there. And I'm one of those guys that believes that Desmond Ridder, with a couple of games, a full offseason where he's the number one, where he doesn't have to worry about competing for his gig. It's his job. First team snaps, everything. Game plan, his. I think he'll have a pretty decent year. Then he gets Kyle Pitts. You give him another toy on the other side, man, and you already got a running game that'll bail him out. But yeah, man, this defense gotta get right. So anyway, man, I'm out. Y'all have yourselves a fantastic weekend, man. Hopefully this weather is somewhat normal. It's been bipolar the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we get some good weather. And we will be back on here next week because I am making that Matt Ryan video, bro. We are gonna do that live. We are gonna do that one. All right, man. I'm out. Peace.